Are we back? Okay, we're back. Not to be outdone by Danny's wonderful earmuffs. Quickly on break, we put this together. Now, this is just an example of some of the things that you can do with Danny clamps. This is a wonderful toilet paper holder for your shop. Works fine in the...
Actually, John, this is a shop cloth holder for going on furniture and stuff.
Okay. Now
toilet paper holder.
Now keep in mind, now this is creative, because not only is this a stationary toilet paper holder, if you're going to go camping, you can put it on your belt loop, and you've always got your toilet paper with you. Okay. Now another thing.
But what happens if you get it caught on a tree?
Well. Okay. Now another thing, very quickly. Keychain.
Oh.
Look at that. You can just hook that on your belt. You'd never lose that baby, I'll tell you.
No, you wouldn't.
Okay. Now Danny and I were talking during the break, and what we decided to do, because Danny came up with this great idea for the earmuffs, is we're going to have a contest. And through January 31st, there is 31 days in January, right?
I think
so. January 31st, you send in a picture of your most outrageous application for a Danny clamp. And at the end of that 30 days, we'll have them all up on the website. At the end of the 30 days, we'll pick one, and you'll get a $100 gift certificate towards any Danny product that we sell.
No, actually, well, I will honor any product you sell.
Okay, so any product that we sell.
Right.
So they don't have to buy Danny clamps.
No.
Okay. All right, so there you guys got it. That's the challenge. And we'll put them all up on the website, good or bad. They'll be on the website. And just send them in, and we'll put something on the website tomorrow, maybe regarding where to send them. But in the meantime, you can send them to my email address at john@specialtytools.com. If you want to go ahead and bring that table back up, we'll keep moving along here.
You could have had a toilet paper on the second floor if you
Yeah, we could have. That's right. Okay, so what are we going to talk about now, Danny?
Cove clamping. One thing that I found out about coves before I started doing them, they were scary. You know, what do you do to all the things with joining the tops and everything else? I came up with this method. Now, this top was already made. Partially because the show, it takes more than an hour to go into cove clamping and how to do it all. You can use a coving router. You can do my method. My method is a little bit different. I make up separate cove pieces like this. I take a 2-inch wide piece, run it through a core box bit on each side, and cut it to width, and then I have a cove piece that gets glued onto the edge like this. Now, the advantage for Danny clamps are that they clamp straight through the center of the material, so when you clamp something, it doesn't curl. With most standard clamps, they all curl. If you put a bar clamp on this, you're going to get it like this, so you won't get a flat clamping method.
And why does that happen, Danny?
That's because the tension in the bar is constantly pulling up because the way it is tensioned. But a Danny clamp, because the tension is always directed through the middle of where it's clamped, it's always pushing down to the bottom. So in doing coves, the fastest way to do it is to clamp the coves like this. You can clamp them back to back using an 8-inch clamp so you can save time. That's all it takes to sit there, and you can see that
it does stay flat, stays tight.
And it is stable. Now the other advantage is if you've got larger backsplashes, there's one down there, you can clamp up your edge for tall backsplashes, and even here's one here. Just to show you how easy it is to clamp a taller backsplash.
I'll just slide this out of the way.
Yeah, that's good. You can clamp your cove block on here, and as John explained before, they use a little beveled edge piece, and it runs into a dado. But the clamping is so much faster with this type of method because you're able to clamp flat on a table. Now, the second advantage of doing this, if you put it on a laminate board, that your squeeze out on the back will be completely smooth. You won't have to do anything. There are some cove clamping methods out there. They stand the stuff out. You got squeeze out on the back that you have to sand off. This you have nothing to sand at all. And then you can just put it in the rabbet joint in the back. The other thing is the way things work for a cove, in my literature I have a complete layout for doing this. These are my cove deck rails, which I also use for the miter fold edge. You put your clamps on here, and these clamps get put on the top edge like this, and they're clamped. When you put them on, you wiggle them. That holds them in place, and then you would put a clamp in the front here and pull the backsplash in. Now, I do my coves a little bit different. John and Ken, they do a scribe block on the back. I scribe the back edge of my countertops with a long piece of MDF on stringers that get clamped to the front, and I bend it to match my template. And then I will router off that to match. The advantage is you actually can bend a cove backsplash up to 5/8 of an inch over 10 feet. So if your wall is out, it will just follow the wave and run through.
Now, something like this is going to help you with short scribing that you have to do. And I think that's why Ken really promotes this. You can sand it in and get a perfectly
It's an easy way to do the sanding. My method will eliminate any on-site sanding.
Okay.
The other thing is I use a cove corner, which it is.
A lot of people ask me about that. I'd really like you to go over that, Danny.
The cove corner.
Now, not everybody goes up the corner, but doing it this way makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, really easy. All it takes is you take a piece of material and you have a core box bit and you run it and you stop it before you get through the material. Okay, so you've got a little shoe piece here.
All right, so a core box bit. So you're going to use a 3/8 core box bit if you're using a 3/8 radius in here? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what happens to this is this piece will get glued onto the end of the backsplash.
Okay.
So then you have your core box radius in here, and even if you use a coving router, you can do your bevel in there. The only thing you have to do is the piece that comes in here needs your 1/8 inch rabbet joint in it.
Oh, so it's going to have the same rabbet joint that the deck has in it.
Right. On the end of the splash.
All right.
So
then actually, if you're looking at this, this is the same as if this was standing up in the deck.
Right.
Very good. Okay.
So then
makes perfect sense.
So it goes together, and then that's a return. So you just cut the pieces and they fit together. Now for side splash turn, because we don't have a side splash, you would have a side splash on this side. This is
what can I get for you?
Cox clamp.
Cox clamp.
Down
solos?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. For doing side splash clamping, I put a Cox clamp on the end here, and that will hold this from moving. I also use a connection rail on the back side here, which then gets clamped to this side. So that stabilizes this clamp. That allows you, when you clamp your backsplash on this side, to clamp across this way, and it will hold it in place. I can clamp one up here, and it won't really go anywhere.
How long does it take to learn, seriously, how to use the Danny clamp system? Because, you know, just looking at this, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, man, that's really complicated. But yet, you go through this so fast and so easy, and the customers that I do have that use the Danny clamps say it's simple.
It is.
Why does it look, I mean, it really looks complicated.
It looks complicated, but the pieces are color-coded. The clamps are color-coded for what they're for. I have a video that shows all this cove clamping from start to finish.
Okay.
Once you figure out how everything goes, and it only takes one job usually, you can put it together and you don't even have to think about it.
Okay.
You know what clamps go where, and the advantages in most cove clamping methods, people are gluing blocks everywhere, trying to stick this, put spring clamps here and there. You don't have to glue any blocks with this. So it increases your speed by what you're able to do. My typical, I'd say about 95% of all my jobs are cove. I sell coves. I can do almost 30 lineal feet with 2 hours of fabrication time. That doesn't count the glue setup time. That's the fabrication time, the sanding and fabricating of the material. If you can do 30 lineal feet in 2 hours, and whatever you charge, you could charge almost $10 a lineal foot and still make money at that speed. So,
and that's really the name of the game is, you know, well, what can I offer? Because a lot of guys stay away from coving in general.
Well, they're scared of it because then you've got deck seams to deal with.
Right.
With a cove, it's real easy as long as you've done a good template, because your deck seam is going to be here. You make sure your cove in is flush on the end so that the two pieces come together. The only thing is you have to be a little more particular about how level your tops are when you're doing a cove, because if a cove is up a little bit higher on one side, they're going to butt together like that. You don't want that. You want to make sure your cabinets are very level when you put it in.
Okay, let's slide that one out of the way, Danny, and we'll take a look at this. I'd like to take just a minute to thank Harmony Solid Surface. They have donated all the materials for tonight's show. Harmony is a 100% acrylic solid surface manufactured in Turkey. It's distributed out of Tampa. The guys are great. I know them personally. They're really just great to do business with. This is their color selection, less a couple of white pieces. And Danny's going to show us real quick how if you had this many pieces, you can glue them up with his system, and they would be all flat and all level.
Right.
Show us real quick, Danny.
This is my clamping rail. I use it for pulling deck seams together, peninsula tops, strips, and for making long backsplashes out of cutoffs and leftover material. And it's very simple. You just put your adhesive on your strips, put your hand inside the clamp, you pull back on it, and you set it down, and there you go.
That's wild. All these little pieces.
Yep. They're all snug and tight, and they're not going. And this isn't even half-inch material. I think it's just a heavy quarter.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Now, just to show everybody that these are all loose pieces, we'll just slide them off here. Are we going to hit our box?
I think so.
I think not. Okay, now, again, thanks to Harmony Solid Surface, you can check out their entire line at, I believe, harmonysurfaces.com or harmony.com. I'm not sure which. I should know, but I don't. Now, Danny, what do we really do with this? We're not going to glue together.
Well, a lot of fabricators actually throw 16-inch, 12-inch by 24-inch pieces in the trash because they need an 8 or 9 or 10-foot backsplash.
Right.
And they don't like pulling separate pieces together because they're always crooked. There are a lot of fabrication time. And they figure, well, gee whiz, we'll throw $50 worth of material in the trash, buy another $150 strip to make a backsplash out of. Well, actually, this was a cutoff, and it was about 17 inches long. Yay, there you go.
This is my staff.
Yeah, I can see.
Since I have no other staff here.
Your staff is in New York. Well, anyway, there you go. Now what this is, this has an adjustable rail on it. And how you do it is these were one piece, and I cut them up to 4 strips, and they're about 24 inches long, 4 inches wide. So this is what make a backsplash. Now, if you clamp this material face down, you'll have a flat squeeze out on the bottom. You won't have much sanding, and you can always take a festool and sand off the back side.
So you're going to clamp this good side down or good side up?
Most generally I clamp it good side down, so then I have very little to sand on the face side, and if the material is a different thickness,
say the thickness material makes a lot of difference.
It will make it all flush on the bottom side.
Where's the end of this?
It's got to be adjusted because.
Oh, okay.
All right, the way this works, you need about 6.5, 7 inches to the end of the material. You just slip the clips in, adjust it, slip the clips on like this. Now I did a demonstration in my shop one time,
Got 1 minute, Danny.
And then all you have to do is put your clamp on here, put it like this. Now, if you don't like the sand to squeeze out on the ends,
on the edges, you can stick a strip of laminate in here, but you take one of the cove clamps and you put it between each joint, and it will be perfectly, I can't find them here, John, they're too tight. Well, there's one down there.
There's one. There you go. But that will hold your backsplash perfectly straight as long as you had 90-degree cuts all the way across it. And in fact, you can use any of these clamps because they will clamp different distances. There's an 8-inch, 6-inch edge treatment, and a cove clamp, holding everything together. So you want to tip this up?
Okay, I think we're going to commercial break and right about now. So we can just kind of hold this up. That's it. We're gone.